Hey, welcome to another episode of Rocket Revenue. My name's Troy Barter. Our co-host Gabe Hankin can't make it this week, so we're going to do a solo episode where I'm going to cover my experience in door-to-door and how that can relate to inside sales, tech sales, phone sales. That in-person sales stuff that I learned is what made me really strong as a cold caller once I moved over to inside sales. And I've pretty interesting story to go over in terms of why that's top of mind for me right now. So just to kind of rewind about like 6 years ago now, when I was working for a tech sales company and I was just kind of waiting out for my vesting schedule to be over. They call it golden handcuffs. We have all this equity, but you have to wait for it to vest, and they're like big, significant paydays, and you can't really leave and do something else, even if you're kind of done working there. You've reached the top of your potential and the top of your earning potential. You got to wait because you got a lot of money sitting around. Well, while I was waiting, I decided, man, I had a friend who was doing pool cleaning. He had bought a route. And I was like, man, that pool cleaning service, it kind of reminds me of SaaS. Like people pay for a service every single month over and over and over again. When you land a client, it's not that expensive to service that client, and it's residual income that comes in over and over and over again. And also, I noticed that no one in the pool cleaning industry sells door to door. Like they might leave a door hanger, but you might have people knock on your door when it comes to like roofing or when it comes to solar. But you don't really get anybody when it comes to pool cleaning, which I thought didn't really make any sense because it costs like $100 to $150 a month to get your pool clean. It's definitely worth the motion of having someone go out there door to door and land a customer. People go out door to door for alarms, and that's much cheaper than $100 to $150 a month. It didn't make any sense to me. And also, no one has any allegiance or contracts with who's servicing their pool. So I decided, oh, hey, we'll give this a shot. A friend of mine had been let go at the time where we were working at in tech sales, and I was like, dude, we can like create something here. I've gone door to door. I'll show you how to do it, and we can build a pool cleaning company, and we can attract clients by going door to door instead of having to buy existing routes where people are already servicing all of these pools, and you just take over it for them. Came up with a name and everything. We're going to do Aquaman pools. Look, I even made this polo, this remnant from 5 to 6 years ago. It was like I had everything completely planned out. And then at 0 hour, my friend decided to take another tech sales opportunity. And I didn't have the time to go door to door and work the job that I was already at. So it got tabled indefinitely. Now, why am I telling you this story? So, funny enough, in the neighborhood that I live in, we have a group text, everybody in the neighborhood. And one of my neighbors 2 doors down sent a text out to everybody and said, hey, we're going to start a pool cleaning company. And if any of you guys wouldn't mind us just practicing on your pool, let me know. So I hit him up and I said, not only can I let you guys practice on our pool, but I like drew up an entire sales strategy for a pool cleaning company years ago, and I'm doing nothing with it. And I'd love to share it with you. And he was like, funny enough, I was thinking the same thing, which is crazy because no one's done it before that I know of. And I already have a few people that are like, they're not even graduated from high school that are going to be going door to door. And I said, man, I'd be down to talk to them. I've ran door to door teams and companies for years before I got into tech sales. So that leads us up to now. And what I wanted to go over is what I said. I did a morning meeting with them to get them going and kind of give them some ideas, some principles that have really worked well for me in door to door. But all those principles carried over incredibly well when it came to inside sales, when it came to software sales, tech sales, any sales that I had done. These things worked not just in door to door, but they ported over really well in tech sales. And I mopped the floor with everybody when I first got to tech sales. And it wasn't because I was so great, it's because I learned so much and had that grit from going door because door to door is way harder than inside sales. When somebody curses you out and slams the door in your face, you're not in an air conditioning room where you can just pick the phone back up and call somebody else. You got to walk a lot of times in the heat or in the cold to the next door. It's way harder. There's a lot more mental toughness that's required. It's a lot more difficult to maintain your attitude. So usually I prioritize anybody that wants to work with me that has really good door-to-door experience because I know that they're built differently. And a lot of that stuff, even if you've never gone door to door, you can take and you can apply to your sales strategy or to your team sales strategy if you're someone that has a startup and you're looking to build pipeline, and it'll work incredibly well for you. So here's what I covered with that team. The first thing that I covered with them is the first thing that you should do, and it happens before you even open a door when you're going door to door. And that's called C factors. SEE. Smile, eye contact, enthusiasm. You should have a smile on your face before you even open the door, before you even knock on the door if you're going residential. You should have eye contact because it shows confidence, it shows respect, and you should be enthusiastic. And I told them when you're being enthusiastic, it doesn't mean to be corny, over the top enthusiastic. It means that you should come across like you're happy to do the job that you're doing. You're happy to be talking to them. You're not negative about your job. You're excited. Not wildly excited because that's fake, but you enjoy what you do and you're happy to be talking to them because sales is a transference of certainty. When you're cold calling, a lot of people assume that they're going to have a hard time at every door that they go to or every dial that they make. And if you assume that things are going to go well and you assume that you're going to enjoy the conversation, you will enjoy the conversation more often and things will go well more often. What you expect is generally what you're going to get. And if you don't expect it, you're definitely not going to get it. If you're expecting there to be a poor outcome when you cold call or when you go door to door, chances are you're right. So you want to have some level of enthusiasm. So, how does that really pour over entirely to cold calling? Well, obviously, we just went over the enthusiastic part, but like the smiling, they can't see your smile. Who cares, right? Well, this is one of the oldest and probably corniest things that people say when it comes to telephone sales, whether it's telemarketing, whether it's inside sales, whatever. You want them to be able to hear your smile through the phone. You've probably heard that before. Sounds incredibly corny, right? But it is true. There's a few different things you can do that port over to the phone, even though people can't see you. One is for you to be standing up. That helps with your enthusiasm. That helps with your projection. It helps with a boatload of different things. Your energy level. If you're standing up, a lot of the best inside salespeople I ever worked with would even walk around while they're on the phone. But if you're standing up and moving, it's like that old Ben Affleck boiler room. Motion does create emotion. And sales is a transference of certainty, but it's also a transference of emotion. So doing that will help you. If you're smiling when they pick the phone up, it will sound like you're smiling when they pick the phone up. It helps you with your enthusiasm. When it comes to eye contact, obviously, that doesn't work. You're not having eye contact with somebody. But what you can do is just come across like you're certain. You don't want to be assertive. You just want to be assumptive. You want to assume that things are going to go well. You want to assume that you're talking to the right person. You want to assume that you guys are going to be a good fit until you find out otherwise. So that stuff really does work door to door, but it also works in inside sales as well. Having C factors: smile, eye contact, enthusiasm. The next thing that I went over with them, and I went over the pitch framework, and I'm not going to cover that today because we've gone over that in other episodes a million times, and I don't want to kind of beat a dead horse when it comes to pitch framework. But I did go over pitch framework, and it ports incredibly well from door to door to inside sales. And it is what led to me having a lot of success in inside sales, but we've covered that before. No need to go over it again. Next thing that I covered that I think is incredibly helpful, but it really works well in door to door and then it ports over to inside sales, is to break down game tape from one door to the next. In other words, whether or not things went really well at that last door that you were at or whether they went terribly, you should be breaking down your game tape with a my fault mentality. In other words, you're moving from that door to the next one. Let's say they cursed you out and they slammed the door in your face. Well, there's two different ways that you could approach that. You could say, oh, what a jerk. They cursed me out. They slammed the door in my face. It's their fault. I'm going to move on to the next one, right? Which is not the worst thing, I suppose, but it means that you're never going to get any better from that door to the next one. The way that I always did it when I went door to door, no matter what happened, if I got an objection I couldn't overcome, they slammed the door in my face after I, got a little bit of my pitch out, I would ask myself, all right, what if everything that happened at that door was my fault? What if I took the blame for all of it? And I knew that I was in control of being able to change the outcome. If I could have rewinded the tape, 5 minutes and pitched again, if I had done things differently, what could I have done differently that would have created a higher chance of me getting the outcome that I wanted when I knocked on that door? And I break that down and then I would think to myself, what could it be? And I would try to get creative from one door to the next. and think of different ways that I could have done things differently that might have resulted better for me had I done those at that last door where things didn't go my way. And then at the next door where I heard something similar or something similar happened, I would try that new thing that I got creative on from one door to the next. Oh, I probably should have done this differently. All right, cool. Well, for the rest of the day, I'm going to make sure that I turn that into a habit. First, I'm going to test it out at the doors that I'm at. And if it starts to work better than what was happening before, then I'm going to work to turn that into a habit that I continue to do anytime I run into that situation again. And if you see enough doors, enough days, you will eventually build what I call, because I'm old, I'm 40, a mental Rolodex of all of the different types of customers that you would talk to, or the types of prospects that you would talk to, all of the different objections that you would get, all of the different things that you could run into that are an obstacle between you and where you want to be in the conversation and what you want to get out of that door that you're knocking on. And what I found is that once you do that and you do it enough and you work to turn those things into a habit, you've kind of already closed everybody that you'll ever talk to. And they might look different, they might talk a little bit different, but you already closed that exact same type of prospect. You already closed that exact same objection that they're giving you. And you know exactly how to do it, where it'll result in you having success. And you've turned those things into habits. So now not only do you know how to do it, you know how to execute on it at a high level. And what it all comes down to is, number one, like I was saying, breaking down your game tape. So whether or not you're door to door, whether you're cold calling, you can do that. It's easier door to door because you got to walk from one door to the next. So you can think about it while you're walking from that door to the next door. When you're calling, you're usually calling really quickly. So what I'd recommend doing when you're calling is make notes of things in the CRM. Things didn't go your way, make a note. Here's what happened. Here's what I probably could have done differently. You can do it really quick and you make the next dial. Don't worry. Companies aren't expecting you to do over 100 dials a day. And trust me, it is very easy for you to do, believe it or not, over 200 dials a day. So you've got time to make a note because it's going to result in you having more success long term, right? And then it's just making sure that at the end of the day, you break down your day and you take a look at all of those things and say, all right, cool. What did I run into? What are some things that I could have done that have resulted in me having more success potentially? And then you try those things out and you test them. And the key to this is the amount of activity that you do and the amount that you're breaking down your game tape throughout the day and throughout the week and throughout the month. And if you do that enough, and if you either see enough doors or you make enough dials and you're constantly looking to improve and learn something on every dial, learn from your success as well. If things went well, ask yourself, well, what could I, how do I make sure that I can repeat that the next time that I run into that situation because that worked really well. And I want to make sure that I make a note of that because I want to have that same result again on other calls where I run into a similar situation. To me, I know these two things are small and we could expand on this. This is going to be a short episode for sure. But these two things are things that really aren't covered that much in inside sales, but they're covered all the time in door to door. When it comes to the C factors, people kind of got away from that, like, hey, they can hear your smile through the phone type thing. But the reality is they can. And if you did it, you would put yourself in a better position to open the call and have success than if you didn't. It might be corny, but sometimes corny things lead to you having success. So I'd rather be a rich cornball than a broke cool guy every single day of the week. And breaking down game tape. Last thing that I covered with them was QTQP. In other words, quality time with quality people. So in the pool business, it's pretty much rip and replace. If you knock on a door and somebody says, we already take care of that for us ourselves, we already do it. We clean our own pool. We don't need anything. The chances of you overcoming that is incredibly low. Unless they're running into an issue doing it themselves, if they're doing it themselves already, they've built the habit, it's not that hard to clean a pool. Chances are they're not going to outsource it and pay money if they already have that motion going and it's working for them. So you could either try to belabor it, spend more time with them, ask more questions, talk to them longer, but more than likely, the conversion rate on that particular type of prospect is incredibly low. So what I said to them is that you're really looking for the rip and replace, particularly when you're new. You want to make a note of maybe those people that said we clean it ourselves, but you're probably better off quickly and politely moving on to the next door than you are spending time trying to overcome something that's going to be incredibly difficult for you to overcome because we have plenty of territory. And that absolutely applies to inside sales as well. You want to spend quality time with quality people. So you want to ask relevant questions as quickly as you can, where it's natural in the conversation, that would determine whether or not the person that you're talking to or the company that you're prospecting into is worth prospecting into. Are they qualified based on the type of customer that you guys are looking to attract? And if they're not, you can quickly and politely say, "Oh, sorry that I couldn't help you. Sounds like you guys have everything figured out already, or sounds like we might not be a good fit." And then, you wish that they have a great day and you move on. You don't just hang up on them. Apologize that you couldn't help. Hope that they have a great day and move on quickly to the next one. So, quick breakdown. Then I have to hop over to a meeting. C factors: smile, eye contact, enthusiasm. So, two of those port: smile, they can see your smile, they can hear your smile through the phone, and then enthusiasm. Don't be a cornball, but be enthusiastic whenever you call somebody. Be enthusiastic about the fact that you're happy to be talking to them at the very least. And then you want to review your game tape and break down your game tape from every door to the next or from every dial to the next. There's no such thing as failure if you learn from it. And if you learn from every single dial and you make enough dials every single day, you will eventually become better than everybody else if you learn from them. If you don't learn from them, then you're never going to improve, or you're never going to improve at the rate that you could have. And then finally, QTQP: spend quality time with quality people. These things work incredibly well in door to door, but again, they port really well over to inside sales. So if you take those things that I learned by, getting, beat up verbally door to door for years, and you don't have to go through any of that, and you just apply that to your sales motion on inside sales, I guarantee you'll have more success than if you did it. And that's our episode of Rocket Revenue. If however you're listening to this or watching this, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment. If there's a topic that you want us to cover, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I always accept all LinkedIn connections. My name's Troy Barter. Same face on LinkedIn, just without the hat.